This is
You
how
like
we were
that?
before it all happened.
You're welcome.
It started out, I had a lot of physical issues. I had a lot of back pain and just leg pain and different things. I would go see my regular doctor, and he started prescribing me pain medication. And the longer I took that, the more I needed for the pain to go away. During that, I started having some female issues, and that doctor would prescribe me pain medication. So I was going from doctor to doctor, kind of like doctor shopping. I had a surgery, and it was a full hysterectomy. And the day that I went in, my doctor had told me that I almost died on the table because I had taken so much pain medication. And I had never told him all the others I was taking. Anyway, I came through that. He gave me some medication, and I went through that within 2 days and called to get more. And they said, well, you shouldn't be hurting anymore. And I'm like, but I am. Was I hurting? I think it was more of a withdrawal. And I remember calling my sister, Tiffany, and I told her, I said, Tiffany, I think I'm dying, because that's how awful it was to come off of opiates.
I was working for a clothing store, and your mom called me that day whenever I was working, and she sounded very sick. She had just had surgery, and she was telling me that she needed help. And I kept saying, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And she kept saying, I'm sick, I'm throwing up, I don't feel good.
And I got a call at work from Tiffany, and she said, Mom, you need to go see about Wendy. She's pretty sick. And she also stated that what we had been expecting, what we had expected for some time was true, that Wendy was on drugs, was on prescription drugs.
This happened on the first day of first grade for me, and the first day of kindergarten for her. And I just remember coming home, and I was just wondering where our mom was. And so we had asked our dad where Mom was, and he just told us. He didn't lie to us. He didn't try to make it cover it up. Yeah, he didn't try to cover it up, but he just told us that our mom had taken too much medicine and she'd gone somewhere to get it straightened out.
I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to talk to my family. I just isolated myself. I had you girls. Y'all were young, so at nighttime, your dad would take you out to dinner, so I could just lay on the couch or lay in bed, because I felt like a zombie. I didn't want to do anything, and I was ashamed and embarrassed that a medication had taken me that far, but never wanted to admit it.
I remember it pretty vividly. I was in my truck and I was driving on the bypass. And it just, at that point where it hit me that I didn't feel that your mother would ever be coming back, and that she didn't care for you girls.
And that's when he did file for divorce. So I knew that my life had spiraled out of control. I knew I was in the midst of chaos. I had been out shopping for you girls Christmas, and I did that all the time, whether it be Christmas, Easter, or Valentine's. I never stopped thinking about y'all. And even though you never got these gifts, I wrote you letters, I wrote you cards.
Well, I have this letter that she sent us a long time ago. There's not a date, but it says,
Eric and Macie, 6 more days and I'm out of here. I have learned how to sleep a lot better, and I do not smoke as much. Thank you for all of your prayers. I bet you two have grown a foot tall since I have been gone. I love you, Mommy.
prayed for you all the time, even in that crazy addiction. And this was the end of my road. And I remember, Eric, I think you would have been about 9. And I'd gone to Target to get some paper to wrap it with. And I saw this little vest. And I'd bought you all kinds of stuff too, but I remember this vest, and I remember thinking, would Erica think that was cool? I don't even know my girls' taste. I don't even know their size. And I thought, what kind of mom are you? What have you become? So I went home and I put all of your Christmas by the door. And we were living in an apartment at that time. I remember just getting my pills and taking more and more because I could not believe what I had become. It's like I had that moment of clarity, and it was like, what are you doing? What have you done to your girls? And I thought that throughout the years, but that God gave me that moment of clarity, I believe. I was so out of my mind that I had turned on the, I actually was cooking, and I don't cook. Turned on the stove, turned on the, had put a apple pie in the oven of all things, and turned on the stove and put a blanket on there and walked away. And the apartment caught on fire. And I stood there and I thought, this would be easy. And I could just end it right here. And I looked at all the stuff around the apartment. And I headed out the door, something maybe just leave. And I remember in that dirty, filthy motel room, just laying on that bed and just screaming, God help me. Somebody help me. God, if you're real, help me. She made some phone calls and found a place in Russellville, Arkansas. And it was out of a lady's home, and the name of it was Bruised Reed. That is where I found so much freedom. And, you know, I'd already been sober for a good 5.5 months. So my mind was getting right. And she took me in, and there was a couple of other ladies there too. And it was more home structured. I could go down and cook my own meals. We'd have to be up by a certain time and do devotions and things. She gave me homework to work on myself and not to blame others, and finding out why I did the things I did. She knew everything that needed to be done that I had no clue. So she set up pretty much everything for me to be able to walk in a courtroom and say, this is what I've done, I'm better. And dadgummit, it's time to see my children. If someone would have told me in my addiction where I would be today, I would call them a liar, because there's no way I didn't see a future for myself. What got me through was, I would say, was a lot of prayer, whether it be from my mom, my sister, silent prayers from my girls, because I know someone was out there praying for me.
You know, I just didn't know what to expect, but God did, because He had a plan for her. He's the one that brought her home.
The number one thing was prayer. I mean, our faith in the Lord and prayer is what got me through the whole thing, even though there were so many ups and downs.
February the 20th, 2008, I claimed a verse in Jeremiah 31:16, and this is the Living Bible, and I put Wendy's name beside it, and I inserted her name in the verse, and it reads, "But the Lord says, don't cry anymore, for I have heard your prayers, and you will see her again. Wendy will come back to you from that distant land of the enemy.
I've been sober since May 14th of 2011. I have a great job. I work at the hospital. I work in healthcare. I would have never dreamed that I would actually be helping other people at any time in my life, but God has granted me that. He's been so merciful, and He has restored to me what He promised. He has restored a relationship with my girls, with you two. We see each other every other weekend, and you know, I know it's a lot for you girls to have to lug your stuff over back and forth, and you know, my heart goes out to you even when you carry your bags up. But I am so thankful that y'all come over here.
We love you.